The aim of the drafters was to make the scope of application of these rights to identity the widest possible. And I think they were they demonstrated great foresight in doing so. They wanted to ensure that right to identity would be relevant in as many undefined situations where problems might occur in relation to identity. And this, of course, is particularly important in terms of ART, including surrogacy, which was not an issue at the time the convention was being drafted in the 1980s. That came up afterwards, and we've seen very clearly that the application of Articles 7 and 8 are perhaps in particular, in the context of surrogacy, is of extreme importance today in trying to ensure the protection of the child. What we've also seen in the sphere of adoption, and particularly inter-country adoption, is the concern now being not only expressed but also acted upon in relation to both historic abuses of inter-country adoption that have involved illegal modifications to the identity of the children concerned, but also very recent and probably ongoing examples of actions that have decimated, if you like, the identity of children. And certainly in the past 10 years, we've seen many instances of this. Perhaps there will be less at the present time because of the results of COVID or the effects of COVID on the practice of inter-country adoption, but nonetheless, in very recent times at least, we've seen examples of the kinds of problems that can. So we're going to be faced with responding to these abuses for a very long time, potentially for a very long time, for several decades, as has been shown in the historical cases, which are now coming up 30 years or more later. And it also applies, of course, to certain national situations of adoption, of forced adoption, which we've also seen as being the subject of particular concern in recent years. And then, of course, there is concern, I think growing concern, about the effects or the negative effects on identity and preservation of identity for children who are quite simply deprived of their family environment. For whatever reason, it may be for protection, for their protection. It may be as punishment, removal after they are in conflict with the law. It may be also for exploitation in some form. I mean, whether it be labour or sexual exploitation or exploitation involved in underage marriage or early marriage. And all of those situations, whether the actions are deliberate or not on the part of those who are undertaking these actions, the identity of the child is clearly at risk, in particular in terms of family relations, where the child just loses contact with the family as a result of decision-making, either decision-making or quite simply illegal or illicit actions in relation to removing the child from the care of the family. So in sum, it's quite clear that this concern has to be kept very much in mind at the present time and for the foreseeable future.